So you know I don't make training programs for little kids, but today what I've got for you is a training program for little kids. So by the end of this workout, you're going to have a complete off-ice workout for your young goalie that actually is going to help them perform better on the ice. Not just something that's going to tire them out and not really help them and just add wear and tear. We're going to use no equipment whatsoever, so anybody can do it. So if that sounds like exactly what you need, exactly what you're looking for, why don't you hit the like button right now? Huh? You want to wait till you see what the workout actually is before you. Okay, fair enough, but make sure you watch till the very end because I'm going to give you the most productive use of your young goalie's time during the lockdown, the way they can make the most progress at home. So let's just get one thing straight before we head into the lab and start the workout. Your kid is not a mini pro, and they might be a really, really good 8, 10, 12-year-old goalie. They might love and really, really want to train hard like a pro does, but they are not mini pros. They don't have the physiology, they don't have the background. Pros train the way they train and can train the way they can train because they've taken all the steps to get there. It's very much the same like climbing Mount Everest. You can't just take a helicopter and then walk to the summit and say, oh, there, I did it. You have to take all the steps. So you have to go up and camp at base camp and come back down and then take the next step and the next step and the next step. That's how you get to the top of Everest. That's how you get to become an elite goaltender. Just like an aspiring musician, maybe wants to rock Led Zeppelin, but first you have to start by learning the chords, learning your scales, mastering those skills. So that's where excellence comes from, and that's what I'm going to give you today. I'm going to start with a few mobility exercises, or really a few stretches, I should say. And you know that I don't do a lot of static stretching with the more advanced goalies, but I think especially when kids are going through a growth spurt, that is a time when they need some stretching. So we're going to start with a sideline quadricep stretch. So I'm just bringing my heel to my bum, and then I'm bringing my bottom foot up on top to keep my thigh kind of parallel to the floor. So I don't want this thigh pop way up here. I'm also not trying to press it down to the floor. That's not the idea. I just want to keep it in line. And you might feel a little bit more tension here on the outside of your thigh as you do that. Now, if adding this part gives your young goalie knee pain, then just leave that part out, but do keep the thigh parallel to the floor. You're also going to watch that they're not hyperextending their lower back to try and pull their heel. We're just bringing that heel to the bum, keeping the pelvis in a nice neutral position for 30 seconds on each side. We just stretched the front of the thigh, so the next one we're going to focus on is the back of the thigh by doing a standing hamstring stretch. The common thing that people do is they want to put their leg up sort of on the highest bench they can find and then bend forward, trying to touch their nose to their knee. That is not stretching your hamstrings. That's putting a stretch through your low back. And yeah, you will be getting some stretch to your hamstrings, but if we're trying to stretch the hamstrings, then let's stretch the hamstrings. So we do that by, you can just put your foot out in front of you a little bit. Most of your young goalies, their hamstrings are going to be pretty tight anyway, so they're going to feel the stretch. So I have my foot just out in front of me. I'm keeping a nice neutral back position, so I'm sitting back with my bum, but I'm not rounding my back at all. And I just go until I feel a gentle stretch here, somewhere in the back of my thigh. And you're going to hold that for 30 seconds as well. If your young goalie is getting way down here, they're rounding their back. That's all back flexibility. This is hamstring flexibility. Done front of the thigh, back of the thigh. Now we're going to get those adductors. Going to get nice and tall in this tall half kneeling groin position, and just open up until you feel a nice stretch in here. Watch that you're not sitting back in your hips, because everyone likes to feel like they're getting their groin down there, like, oh, I've almost got my splits. But I want you to keep your hips up right over your knees the way you would on the ice. So we'll just find that nice stretch and hang out there and hold that for 30 seconds. From there, we're going to transition to a hip flexor stretch. And this is one that gets done incorrectly a lot of the time. My hip extension is just how much I can take my thigh past neutral behind me. We really only have about 20 degrees of hip extension. So when you see a goalie stretching their hip flexors like this, all that extra is coming from back extension. So really, I'm trying to keep a neutral back, neutral pelvis, and I'll come till my thigh is about straight up and down with my body or slightly behind. A lot of the goalies that I assess can't even get to neutral hip extension. So that means they can't even get to straight up and down. They're so tight that really this is as far as they can go. So straight up and down, maybe slightly past, but nobody's hips are so flexible that they're in this position. So again, here, stay tall in our torso, and then we think about just tucking our bum underneath until we feel a stretch here in the front of our hip, or maybe down a bit into the front of the thigh. This one you will typically feel, we're trying to get a little bit higher up, but if you feel it into your thigh, it's okay. It just means that muscle is a little bit tighter than the other one. And again, we'll hold that for 30 seconds on each side. The purpose of this next one is twofold. Number one, we're going to think of it as skill training, as movement pattern training, but also you're going to stay nice and low in your legs, so it's going to build some of that local muscular stamina. So getting low in your legs, keeping your hands out in front. You know, you can think, where would my glove be? Where would my blocker be? Keep it simple to start with. What I want to do is get balanced over this leg, do a lateral hop, stick that landing, hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, staying nice and low, and then pushing immediately off to the side. So when you initiate that push, there shouldn't be any side bend or dip. It's just I'm holding here, 3, 4, 5, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. So there's no hesitation, there's no preload, there's no lean away. It's just a quick push across. Holding for 5 seconds, staying low, as if the ceiling were only this tall, and you're staying low, but getting low using your legs, not getting low by bending forward, which you see a lot of goalies do on the ice. That'll be 5 reps on each side with a 5-second hold each way. The next one, we're going to work a little bit upper body strength, because goalies need a strong upper body as well. And we're going to start with a good push-up. So it can't be sloppy reps. If the technique isn't quite there, because we're going to adjust the tempo to make it a little more challenging. If the technique isn't quite there, then go from your knees. There's no harm going from your knees if it means you're getting perfect technique. It's like if I handed you, 60-pound dumbbells and said, here, press these. You'd be like, okay, that's a bit too heavy. Could I use the 40s? That just makes sense. So same goes for the push-up. So you want to keep your body in a nice straight line, your hands underneath your shoulders, your elbows kind of sweep down and back, not straight out to the side. We're going to hold for 3 seconds at the bottom. So you're going to come down, 1, 2, 3, everything comes up together. Come down, 1, 2, 3, everything comes up together. So if you're coming up and your chest comes up first, or your bum comes up first, you're not doing them right. You don't have the stability in your torso or the upper body strength to do it perfectly. So then you would go to your knees and get that perfect position and build up. Maybe you'll get to a point where, okay, I can do all 8 repetitions with a 3-second hold from my knees, and it's not that hard. So then what you'll do is you'll do maybe the first 3 from your toes and the last 5 from your knees, and then gradually build it up from there. A nice strengthening exercises for our legs. So start with your feet about hip width apart, take a good step forward, and then we're going to come down so that, again, this is sort of in line with our body. This knee is bent to about 90 degrees. We're going to hold for 3 seconds at the bottom, so that's with our knee just hovering off the ground. 1, 2, 3, come up, back down. 1, 2, 3. And notice how this knee isn't gliding forward, it's just coming straight up and down. My hips are coming straight up and down. They're not gliding out this way. So 6 to 8 repetitions on each side with a 3-second hold at the bottom. We've done pushing exercise with the push-ups. Pulling exercises are always a little harder to do at home with no equipment, but this iso row works just great. So we'll go here, our elbows will come into contact with the floor just so they're below shoulder height, and then we're gonna pull our elbows into the floor, almost like we're trying to lift ourselves up, but we're not gonna lift ourselves up. So we'll pull in for 1, 2, 3, relax. Pull 1, 2, 3, relax. And you should feel the muscles between your shoulder blades or in the back of your shoulders turning on when you do that. This is an essential skill that all goalies need to learn, but a lot of goalies have never learned it. So it's single knee balance, not single foot balance, because a lot of our movement is from a knee down position, and having that stability but also that smarts to find our balance is really important. So we're just in our half kneeling position, hands on our hips. We're gonna pick up this foot and we're gonna try to balance like that for 45 seconds, ideally without using our arms waving all over the place to keep us stable. But if that's what you have to do to start with, that's fine. But just know we're trying to get to a point where you can balance for 45 seconds with your hands on your hips, no problem. And we're gonna wrap this up with a little bit of energy system just to get you huffing and puffing a little bit. It's gonna be a quick step stick, but again, you have to stay low in your legs. So not here, not low in your chest. Get your bum down so that then your chest, you're sort of big in your chest, you're facing where you should be. It's gonna be a quick step stick. Quick step stick. And when you stick with a purpose, like you're visualizing, like there's a shot ready to come. Once you get good at that, and you can do that for 60 seconds, staying low, keeping your good position, then we can make it more complex by having you catch a ball when you get to the end, and you can catch with either hand. So somebody at home can help you out. They'll have a couple balls. So when you come around, step, step, stick, boom, you're gonna catch the ball, pass it back. Step, step, stick, catch the ball, pass it back. We can progress that as well to, maybe they'll alternate which hand they throw it to, or you won't know exactly which hand they'll throw it to. So you might be moving this way, but the ball might come here, so you have to reach back to catch it. There are lots of variations that you can use on that theme, but let's add that element of hand-eye. So there you have it. There's exactly what you asked for. And if you watch this video and you're thinking, well, I don't think that's quite hard enough or goalie specific enough for my little Vesna-worthy goalie, then I don't think you quite understand the concept of age-appropriate training. So just because your little goalie can do something doesn't mean they should be doing something, or that it's really the level that they're at right now. These are exercises that anyone can do, and anyone can do them poorly. The idea is to do them perfectly and to learn these movement skills and to learn the skill of training. It's not just about working hard and making yourself tired. It's about executing with precision and perfection with the right tempo and the right type of movement patterns. They can do this workout 3 times a week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. On the other days, here's your bonus tip. The best way they can improve as a goalie, especially during this time away from the ice, is to work on their skill, their catching, their puck handling, even juggling a soccer ball with their feet, learning that kind of dexterity. Practicing skill for a young athlete is one of the best things they can do because their nervous system is plastic. When we're young, our nervous system is plastic. We can take in all these movement patterns. This is why we never forget how to ride a bicycle. As we get older, we become more hardwired, and the patterns we developed as a kid are going to be with us kind of through most of our life, or it's going to be harder to change them. So whereas strength, really building big strength, that's going to come later when we have more testosterone, more capacity to build strength. But that movement skill, those movement patterns, that's where you can make some huge differences right now. If you're looking for the next step, so if Junior is really diligent with it and sticks with it and does the work, then the next program would be at puckbattledomination.com. I designed that program for goalies and skaters because I think at a young age you don't really need specific training, so that would be the next level up from here. Again, if you think the workout looks too easy, you do the workout with Junior, following the tempo, staying low in your legs, and then tell me what you think of it. Let me know if this is exactly what you were looking for. Now would be the time to hit that like button, please. So it's a program that might not look cool. I'm not wearing my goalie pads, I'm not smashing into my butterfly, but they're drills that are gonna pay off on the ice without adding a bunch of needless wear and tear to your young goalie's body. This is Maria from goalietrainingpro.com. I will see you next time.